Hi, this is Charlie's Barney cage tour in June 2016. He's been in this cage since February, and at the time I set it up because he wasn't that young. He was about 19 months old, and he's now quite an old little guy. He's just turned 2 years old, and he's very healthy and in good condition, but he has a bit of problems chewing now and stiff back legs, so he can't climb very well, so I had to lower everything. So his food and water and any kind of a few floor toys are down on the floor, and he's got very shallow ramps there and little steps here, so nowhere that he can fall where he can hurt himself if he did happen to fall. I've put some hemp mat on top of the shelves here. It's quite safe. It's not like any fluffy type things. It's made from hemp. He's had it inside this little Sputnik here for years as a just kind of little cosy liner in there, but I just did it really in case he did happen to climb and fall, but I don't think he's very likely to climb at the moment. So this is his labyrinth house over there, which actually makes another shelf at that side. It's a really big labyrinth house from Roddy Pet, and it works really well. He's got rooms in there, and he nests in one room, has his toilet in another room, and hoards all over the place. I think there's a hoard in that corner under that great big pile of substrate there as well. So come out through the house top, but now that he has his food and water down here, he doesn't actually need to come out through the house top, so he doesn't do it really now. I think his legs are a bit tricky to get up there. Once he gets onto the roof, I've put a little tunnel here, so he can go through that, quite a shallow one again, through that tunnel onto there, through this tunnel and into his Sputnik. And then from his Sputnik, it's sitting right on the shelf. He can hop out of there and go down the ledge. And he kept choosing the levels. If he did fall, by the way, he can't actually fall onto anything. The only place he could jump off is there. All he could land on is substrate there. On that little purple chew, which he just pulled there last night, so I better move that. Sledge at the back, all he can land on is a big pile of substrate, and it's very close to the house roof. So I'm quite happy that there's no dangers for him if he did climb up on the shelves. So I've left him in because it still gives him roof cover. He's got a lot of floor space there. It's a 100 centimetre cage, and it's about 54 centimetres deep. And by leaving the shelves in, it means he can still sit underneath them and feel kind of safe and cosy and roam around in there. But in the last month or so, I don't think he's been using the levels at all. He's been staying on the floor, and his back legs have got really quite stiff. But he had to have a vet visit recently because he was having difficulty eating, and his bottom teeth were getting too long. He'd stopped eating chews, obviously having difficulty chewing in old age. And when they stop chewing on hard things, their teeth can get too long, and then they can't eat at all. So I was a bit worried about that, thinking I wouldn't want him to starve to death, and neither would I want his teeth to get so long that they grew into the top of his mouth, because you do hear awful stories like that. So I'm not competent enough to clip them myself, so I took him to the vet, and he had his bottom teeth clipped, and now he can eat again. But I'm still, so before that he was having to be supplemented with baby food and ground nuts and that sort of thing. But I've always put his hamster mix out as well, because he still liked to pouch it even when he couldn't chew it. It's still part of their habit to pouch the food and hoard it. But now he can eat again. I still think he's having a bit of difficulty chewing, and so I'm still putting the odd bit of baby food out now and then to make sure he's got enough. But he had lost weight, and now he's put all his weight back on again with a bit of extras that aren't too hard to chew. So now that his teeth are sorted and he's eating properly again, I decided to try him with a few extra chews to tempt him to chew a little bit, because my life must get a bit boring if you can't chew things. So I bought some really good little chews that he loves. I don't think he's going to chew them very much, but it's just perked his life up a little bit. And there's some Rosewood Boredom Breaker Woodies chews, and that's one of them down there. It's like it's a little box with purple, with coloured vegetables in. And they're just made of wood, and they're safe, pet safe colours and flavours and that sort of thing. And there was a little carrot that was down there. Now, while I was changing his water, he nipped out and nabbed the carrot and took it into his house. So it was obviously very popular. It's the right shape to pick up, I think. I don't know what's so special about them. I think it's just that they smell very fruity, and so he was very tempted by that. I'm trying to think of a few other things just to keep life interesting, because he's really quite zippy on the flat. He can run around on the flat, can run around in his cage. He just can't climb very well, which most of us probably couldn't when you get to 80 something, which is what he is in human years. And so I've got a couple of new things to put in the cage. So now what I've got him, apart from this little carrot thing that's disappeared in the house, and I'll show you in there in a minute, I've got him this, it's a set of 3 balls, rosewood 3 activity balls, and this one's made of hyacinth. The other 2 are made of sisal and wicker, I think. I like the hyacinth toys better because they're a bit softer. There's no sharp, spiky, pokey bits on them. Some of the sisal ones and the wicker things have sharp, pokey bits on. And this hyacinth is a bit like his tube. Under there is a hyacinth tube, and so is the one up there. And they're nice and soft and flexible. There's no sharp edges anywhere, so I quite like that. Now, a younger hamster would just rip that to pieces probably, but what you can do, and what I've done, is I've just stuck a few pumpkin seeds in it there, so he'll have fun getting those out. If it was a younger hamster, you could push food right inside it, and then you'd have to rip it to pieces to get it out. So that kind of be a little bit of chewing that's not too tough, and also a bit of fun when you find the pumpkin seeds, because he goes absolutely potty for pumpkin seeds. So I'm going to pop that under there. Let's see if he finds it later. That's down there. The other one is this. I've seen this in other people's cages. It's one of the rosewood board and fruity ones. I don't know if you'll like that as much as the carrot because of the shape, but I'll put it in anyway. So I'm just going to pop that over there in that corner. And what he did have in that corner until yesterday, can't see it, there it is down there. What he did have in that corner till yesterday was one of the Antos mini toothbrushes, vegetable chews, and I'd stuck little seeds in the bristles of that. And so I went to change his water, and the carrot had gone, and all the bristles had gone off the top of the toothbrush, just like that. So he kind of was dead keen on that, and it really livened his day up. And the next morning the toothbrush was gone completely, so I'm assuming they're all still inside this house somewhere in there. So now I'll put that little fruity thing down there. He's got a little pink egg cup that was one of ours, but we don't use it anymore. It fits in the substrate quite well because it's got a long bit on the bottom there, so you can kind of push it right down. And I just put a tiny bit of baby food in there every few days now, which he absolutely loves. He comes out and licks it up. You have to be a bit careful with baby food because a lot of them have things in that hamsters can't eat, like onions and garlic, tomatoes, spices, salt and pepper, that sort of thing. So there's very few that are actually okay, and the ones I've found that are okay are usually the less than 4 months old baby food, and there's 2 or 3. Boots do a couple, Boots the chemist, and there's a couple of hip ones and Cow and Gate ones, but they all seem to be the fruity chicken ones that are the only ones that seem to have hamster safe ingredients in. So I think that one's pumpkin and chicken, and there's another one that's a Boots one that's called fruity chicken, and there's a Cow and Gate one that looks green. I think that's chicken and vegetables, but most of the others have onion or tomato in, and they're no good because they might upset their stomachs. So as I say, he is eating again properly now, so I'm weaning him off the baby food, but I'm still putting a little tiny bit out each day. He doesn't eat it all, he just takes a couple of licks off the top because he likes the taste of it. Over here on this shelf, there's hardly any toys on his shelf now because I've moved so many things down to the floor level. So it kind of looks a bit bare up there, but he's not using it. But what I did put there, just to fill the space a bit, and in case he did go up, was this is a Fuzzbutts cosy cube thing, and it's got a hole in that end and a hole at the other end, so he could actually, if he did climb out of it, he couldn't fall, he'd just go back on that shelf. I don't think he's using it at all. I've never been able to put anything fleece or fabric in his cage. It's not a good idea normally, because if they chew it, they can get digestive blockages. And I did try Charlie with a fleece hammock when I first got him. He tried to chew it, so it had to come out. But he had this one out of cage for a while as a toy for out of cage time, and now that he's older and his teeth aren't so good, he doesn't even bother trying to chew it, so I decided it was fine to put it in there. He seemed to be in pain or suffering, and he's quite sprightly and quite cheerful. But what I've noticed is that putting these odd little extras out is really kind of making his life more interesting, and that's what I want to do in his old age, is give him nice little surprises now and then. He doesn't like change. He hates things changing. He hates things moving around. He likes everything staying in the same place. And I do try and do that. But adding something extra now and then is something that kind of excites him. So adding the odd little new thing. So I'm going to try and add the odd little new thing every now and then. I might make one of the toilet roll parcels that are on Owen's Hamsters video, where you put little treats inside and make a toilet roll into a parcel. And I shall have a look inside his house now. He did have... Right, so I've taken the roof off. I've just slid it inside the cage for now rather than take it out. Just slides off. It's like a lid with a couple of little pegs under and it slots on. And inside there he is. And I can see what's happened to the toothbrush and the carrot. They've been put... Oh, hello, are you in there? What are you doing in there? Oh, it looks nice in there, Charlie. I thought you were down there. Yes, this is Charlie's nest in this box here. But sometimes he goes in this little compartment at the back where I think he's got a hoard under there. And so how it works is he goes in through that front door, and then he goes through this door. And the effect of these two, is it makes everything else dark inside. So Hamster seems to like that. And so his litter tray is in that one, which is right next to the door to the nest area. So he nests in that one, puts hoards in that little place where he is now. Hello. And it looks like his nice new chews have been stuck in the potty, which probably means they're really important and nobody else can have them, but I don't suppose they're going to taste very nice, so I doubt they get chewed very much. And then over this side there's, again, it's like a compartment and a little one at the back which is underneath the top door, so he used to go through there and up through the top. And that little compartment is just to keep it dark coming from the top. This is actually his poop room. It's full of bedding at the moment because I put some new bedding in. You can just see a few little poops in the corner. What was funny was when he started using this house, I thought he'd use that room for all his hoards, but he didn't. He used a little tiny bit at the back and that huge mountain just on the outside corner of the house to put his hoards in. So he nested in that one, hoarded in that one, pees in that one. This one he goes and does his poops in for some reason. And then he used to pop out the back there, but at the moment he's mainly, it's just huge, that's the only thing, and I think some of the rooms could be due to be bigger and some smaller, but he does really like it. And I've stuck some little wooden legs on it so it sits right at the top of the level of the, on top of the substrate basically, so it makes it high enough for a shelf. And it means it can't sink underneath the substrate because it's quite big and heavy. So it also means he can tunnel underneath it if he wants to, because there's about 15 centimetres of substrate under there. He sort of tunnelled under it in that corner, which is why there's a big mountain there. It just kind of keeps it secure. So you can see the little legs there, just little dowels. I just stuck two on the front and one on the side, and the back is actually resting on the back of the cage base. So that's fairly secure, sat there, and he can dig down underneath it a bit. And hello, you come out to see us? You come out, Charlie? Yes, you've been waking up earlier, haven't you? These light nights. There he is. He's a bit sleepy looking, a bit bleary-eyed looking, aren't you? Yes. There you go. You're examining where the roof's gone. Yes, I thought it might be. Examining where the roof's gone. So that's his little nest down there. You can see a little burrow down there. There's quite a bit of food in there. And he goes and sits in there sometimes, but I think it's just a little hoard really. And then into the potty, and then out through the front door. And doesn't really use that side much now because he's not using the top door, but he was zooming in and out there all the time when he was a bit less creaky, weren't you? Yes, there you are. You're coming out for a bit. Yes, what's happened to your cage? I better put that roof back on, hadn't I? Because you won't be able to get out. What's happened to your cage? Let's just put that down a bit. There we are. There we are. Let's put this back. Hello, boy. What are you doing? What are you doing? What have you found? You can smell chew thing, have you? What is it? What is it? Does it smell nice? smell nice, little boy. Yes. He's got most of his fur. He's in quite nice condition. He's got his weight back on because he was always a big hamster. He's about 5 grams under what he used to be. But I think a lot of when they lose weight when they get older it's because they're not eating very well. So they need their teeth looking at, or a bit of supplementing with seeds, extra seeds and nuts and baby food, and a bit of porridge or scrambled egg or something. But now that he's had his teeth clipped, I want him to try and eat more hard things so that they don't get too long again, and just have a few soft things. Hello. Hello. It's not. I know you think it's feeding time, don't you? I'm sorry. It's a bit earlier than feeding time. I haven't put the food out. You're looking for the food, aren't you? Yes. I'm sorry I woke you up. I must have made a bit of noise there, did I? Yes. It's not quite feeding time yet. It's another hour or two. Yes, but I have put that fruity thing out there. If you're going back to bed, are you okay? Night night. Night night. He waddles a little bit at the back now. So there he is, back to bed. And that's Charlie's cage tour. He was about 19 months old when I moved him up to a 100 centimetre cage from an 80 centimetre one. I just wish I'd done it a lot earlier, because the extra floor space makes all the difference with the 100 centimetre cage. I've got that huge house in there and I've still got loads of floor space. And he's got, 2 shelves. He's got an extra little shelf at the back. He's got all that space under there. He likes going sitting under there. Got a little rainbow bridge under there. And he still uses his wheel. I don't think he uses it for very long. It was one night I came down and I watched him, and he goes out and he jumps in it and he runs for about 10 seconds and he jumps out again. King. I've got a little bit of substrate on top of the wheel there. I put that on at night and then I know whether he's been in it the next day, because it's an indication, if he stops running in it, that maybe he's, maybe needing a bit of help for pain relief or something. But he's using it, he's keeping active. When he's out of the cage, he's really active. He's just the same as he always was. So, you do have to think about the changes when they get older. And I think I'm glad that the first time I saw him try to climb into something, he used to have his little Sputnik. This one, actually. He used to have this Sputnik hanging over there, which I used to put his veggies in. And the first time I saw him climb in it and not quite get there and sort of almost fall over, I thought, right, it's time to lower everything. So keep an eye out for things like that, because you want to get everything set up low before they fall and have a problem. But as long as they can't fall on anything hard, that's the main thing. He's got the base full of substrate there, so there's about 15 centimetres in. It's Fitch substrate, but I've got the brown in it, mixed in. It was I ran out when I was doing a clean, or a partial clean rather. I do partial cleans, and I just didn't have enough, and so I bought a couple of other things. The Fitch takes quite a long time to come sometimes, so I bought a couple of other things quickly. Thought I'd try them, and one, the brown, is the Oxbow paper bedding. It's actually a US bedding, but somebody on Amazon was selling it, and I thought I'd just try some, just so I could say if it's any good or not. And it's fine, it's just paper bedding. It's just like Fitch. I think it might have a very fine bit of dust in it, but no worse than Carefresh. But whereas the Fitch is dust free, so you'd notice anything having a little bit of dust, but it's absolutely fine. I've just mixed it in with the white Fitch, so it looks a bit kind of dappled now. And that's it. It's Charlie's cage toy. He's still got his little red bench. That's actually a new one. I broke the other one when I was doing a clean, and he likes it so much, and ironically he's not actually using it now, but he likes sitting on it so much I managed to track down another one. Bendy, the little rainbow bridge he's had since he was a baby. That's actually a replacement as well, but I'm not sure if he knows it's a replacement one. And it's a bit small for a Syrian hamster, really. They can't go under it, but he likes just running over the top of it. It's never been much use as a ramp to get up to anything either, because it just sort of squashes down in the substrate and doesn't give enough of a ramp height. But what he likes to do with it is just run over the top of it for the sake of it. So he's always like that. It reminds me of being a baby, I think. So, thank you very much for watching, and that's Charlie's cage tour. Bye for now.